Go.
All right, so today we're here with Charlie, and this is his roadmap to success. So his guardians contacted us to help him get over some of his reactivity on the leash, and he had some anxiety in his crate. So we've actually moved his kennel upstairs. Before, he was kind of in a previous video I showed where it was in the living room, and it was in a pretty high traffic area. This is another great place to put it because one of his guardians works from home and he'll be able to be in his kennel with her, but also staying off of furniture and building up a positive association with the kennel. He has a nice comfy blanket in here and he's in a very relaxed state. Before he would get very, he would have a lot of saliva and he'd be very anxious. So this is the calmest they've had him in here. So to help keep this a positive experience, this is what I want to encourage the guardians to do. I want them to practice bringing treat rewards and putting it in the kennel by his feet and letting him chew on some really yummy foods, some chicken or roast beef, some deli meat, something that makes him feel really excited to get that as a reward. And so just build up the positive association, ask him to go to his kennel, give him some food, and just leave the door open while you're up here. Other times, come up and start working on increasing the duration that you have the door shut. So maybe later in the day, you took a little lunch break, you went downstairs, you came back up, you said kennel, shut the door, and give him a treat through the top of the kennel up here, and then shut the door for about a minute. Maybe tomorrow you can do this. And then open it after a minute, give him another treat. You don't have to call him out of the kennel. If he wants to keep laying in there after the minute, that's great. And just leave the door open and go back to work. The next day, maybe go to a minute and a half or 2 minutes. If he starts getting anxious, you had the door closed a little too long, so you want to go back down to the amount of time that he's comfortable. So every time you go to a longer duration, he's staying calm and relaxed just like this. So we want to practice that every day. I would say try closing the door 2 times a day until you start getting up to an hour or 2 when he starts to get comfortable. However, dogs do tend to get most dogs get anxious in their crates if they've been in it for 4 hours or longer. So at that point, if you typically don't leave him in here that long, go ahead and let him out. So typically he's not in here for much more than 2 or 3 hours, so he should be all set. And the guardian can stay in here at times to help build up that duration while she's working and keep the kennel closed. Keep using food reward. Every time he goes in his kennel, always give him a piece of food and reward him for his good behavior. At night, ask him to go into his kennel, but leave the door open. So he's choosing to be in here and being in a nice, relaxed, and calm state. So that's what I would practice every day. Ask him to go into his kennel, okay? The next thing is when you're going out for your loose leash walk, go ahead and use the structured walk that we went through in the video above, or the 2 videos above actually, and do that every time you take him out for a walk. You can again let him stop and sniff, but you want to make sure that you're building up his ability to walk in a nice self-controlled manner next to you and you're taking the leadership position. The next thing is if you are on a walk and you encounter another dog, if you have the ability to move farther away, go ahead and do so. And also redirect his energy. You might want to bring a really high value food if you can to ask him to be in a sitting position. You want to work on him building that self-control every time he sees a new dog. So he doesn't start to associate that seeing another dog and barking will get him what he wants. We want to stop that association and build a new one that when he sees dogs, he's in a nice, calm energy state, just like he was in the video above this. The last thing is you might want to include coming to our dog reactivity class because you'll get a lot more repetitions and be able to watch other dogs walk by and participate as well, giving him treats and helping him have calm energy with other dogs. And I would practice the claiming the door exercise and keeping him behind those boundaries. I would say at least 2 to 3 times a day for the next 2 weeks. That will really help to establish him being in a self-controlled way again and not responding to the door. He's already getting to a really great place starting today. We practiced it a couple times after the last video and he was staying far back behind the boundary while different guests come in. You can ask the kids in the house and your partner to text you when they're about to be home, and that way you can practice this exercise a couple times a day when people are typically coming home anyway. And this is how we're going to help him stay in a nice, calm, relaxed state. And remember that everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.